And thanks for watching HBC Channel 25. This is the Cardinals Nest, the sports show devoted exclusively to St. Mary's University. I'm Dean Beckman, joined by Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau. And today our main feature is women's soccer. We have the head coach, Neil Cassidy, with us, and also one of the 3 seniors on the team this year, Kate Rivers. So Neil, Kate, thanks for being on the program. And Kate, we'll start with you. You are a pre-physical therapy major at St. Mary's, a senior, but tell us about your path to St. Mary's and how you got started with the sport of soccer, and then how you ended up coming to St. Mary's, and tell us a little bit about your time at the school.
All right, well, I guess I've always played soccer when I was younger, and I think I just played in high school a lot, and I really enjoyed it, and I got like an interview at my high school, and then I think I've been to tournaments like with my summer league and got recruited at St. Mary's, and then started at St. Mary's and played, and then I really enjoyed it and had a good time.
Good. And tell us about your academics, your pre-physical therapy major, and maybe where you hope to take that.
I guess I was interested in it because I've actually been through therapy myself, so I was really interested in becoming a therapist, and I want to actually just work in the cities and help other athletes.
Good. Do unto others what has been done unto you, right? So Neil, now you've got Kate here on the set, one of 3 seniors on the team this year, and so obviously it's a very young squad. Tell us how much you've had to lean on Kate and the other seniors, so that you're in your 2nd year, and so there's still a bit of a transition there as well.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately Kate's been injured, the torn ACL, so she hasn't been able to play this year, but she's one of 2 captains and the only senior captain. So in terms of that role, she's been absolutely outstanding. Leaning on the other seniors, one's played a lot, the other one's was injured and is starting to come back a little bit. So it is what it is.
Kate, talk about your role, you know, being the fact that you can't be out there on the field. Obviously, that's where you want to be, but how do you make that adjustment to still be able to be a leader of this team, even though that you're not able to play?
I just still stay positive for everybody and kind of make sure that everyone knows that, like, I wish I could be out there, and I think everybody knows I would want to be, and they still take that and they still work hard every single game, every practice. So I still try to encourage and, you know, still try to stay positive and have a smile on my face for everybody else, so that they know that I'm working hard so they can work hard.
And Coach, I guess Kate's knee injury is kind of the story of the season for you guys, in that injuries have really plagued you guys from really the day you walked on campus. So this year's kind of been really an injury-plagued season for you guys.
Yeah, it is. You can use it as an excuse, but I like to look at the positives and the work that the players have had to step into, the roles and responsibilities they've had to do that are not their natural positions. So I'm really proud of the group of girls. They've stepped onto the field every day and want to learn and want to push it. And the record doesn't show it, but if you were to come and see the practices and see this group of girls, you know it's a very special group.
Talk a little bit about how that changes your approach to practices, because like you said, you've got a lot of players that are playing positions that they're maybe not familiar with, so you might have to spend a lot more time teaching them a position rather than maybe honing their skills in other areas. Yeah,
it's just a lot of refreshing. A lot of, every week we're refreshing our defending tactics, our attacking tactics. And that's nothing against the players, it's just we're putting them into a position that they're not familiar with. So we try and work on it, but going into every day, it's different. You never know how many players are actually going to be there. And until game day, you don't know what players are going to be fit for game day, so it's hard to prepare in that sense. But we make the most of it. And in terms of success, I think it has been a successful season, and the bond that we've gotten as a group and the platform that we've built.
Neil, Kate, I think you talk about this being a special group, and the players I know on this team, I would agree with that. It doesn't seem like, even though from a win-loss standpoint the season hasn't gone the way you'd like it to, you haven't had to probably pick up a lot of heads. I think they understand that you're trying to build something here, get those platforms started, as you say, and so I don't, from what I sense, you haven't had to lift up their spirits, so to speak.
That's just how special this group is, and the work that the seniors and Kate has put in as captain. I think that's testament to how they're seeing the year. They know it's tough, but they want to come in and try every day, which is all you can ask for as a coach.
As far as the team chemistry goes, obviously it's there and you continue to build upon it, but you have so many freshmen from all over the country. So kind of tell us where some of these players are from, and if that's sort of a conscious effort or if that's just kind of how it shook out.
Consciously. One of the first things that came in was I'm looking at just Minnesota in general. You've 2 Division III conferences, a Division II and a Division I. So the talent is if it's there, they've got a wide array of choices.
Sure.
So we've got to look a little bit further afield. So the tournaments we go to are a little bit further afield for that, just for that matter. So we've got players Arizona, Colorado, Montana, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Ohio, Michigan, and I apologize if I'm forgetting anybody else.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That is.
Kate, talk a little bit. You only have 3 seniors, lots of freshmen.
Yep.
As one of those seniors, how do you make sure that the freshmen are feeling a part of the group, and kind of how do you make sure that everybody just kind of fits in?
We check in every once in a while to see how everyone's doing. We kind of put them on the spot and help them like lead practices and stuff, and just kind of putting responsibility on their shoulders to say, hey, like we're a part of this too, and just making sure that they're okay and checking in. I don't know, just putting responsibility on their shoulders.
How about from an academic standpoint? You've been through this now for 4 years, so you understand coming in as a freshman, all of a sudden you're away from mom and dad, and you study if you want to study. How do you make sure that everybody kind of gets adjusted to college life, so to speak?
I mean, just asking how their classes are even going. I mean, just making sure I can check in with them when I see them, and if they're having any struggles, they can always ask me, because all the classes they have had, I've taken. So, I mean, I try to encourage them and say, hey, if you have any questions, let me know. I can help when I can. So just being available to them and knowing that I'm there for them whenever.
Neil, tell us how you've tried to utilize Miranda Halling this year. She's obviously played most of the year in goal for you, and how have you tried to maybe keep some of the pressure off of her so she doesn't feel like she has to pitch a shutout every game?
We don't talk about it.
Just
we're very good at recognizing the positives of what people do, both as a team and as a coaching staff, and that's one thing I strive for. We're a family first. We get that bond on and off the field, and there's no pressure. There's no pressure on the forwards to score. There's no pressure on the goalkeeper to keep a shutout. We've got to be realistic in what we ask. We can't ask the forwards to go and score 4 goals every game.
Right.
We can't ask the defence or the goalkeepers to keep a clean sheet, and we can't ask the midfield to destroy and everything and then develop everything.
Sure.
So we look at it from a team perspective. It's got to go through 10 plays before it gets to the goalkeeper. It's got to go potentially through 10 plays before it gets to the forwards. So we just keep it in perspective and keep our goals realistic.
Can you talk a little bit about your philosophy in that? And I've tried many, many times. You won't single people out, whether it's for the for something maybe they made a mistake on. But even if they're succeeding, you're not one that believes in singling a person out and talking about that one person. Talk about how you develop that philosophy and why you feel that's so important.
We're a team, and when with the team, like I said, there's 10 other players on the field. At some stage, for that person to be successful, one of those 10 has to be involved. So I think just to look at one person and say this is all them, it doesn't give credit to the rest of the team. So I'm all about like I said, the family, the relationships, the responsibilities, and the team atmosphere. If we were to single players out, would it be perceived as having favourites? Potentially, and that can cause problems within a team. So that's why you can keep on trying, but it's always going to be about the team for me.
Well, and Kate, from a player's perspective, I would imagine that provides some stability. You don't have a lot of individual highs or too many individual lows, correct?
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, so. The other thing too, and this really is a question for both of you, because Kate, as you watch, and Neil, as you see this team grow and develop, what it would be one area that they have maybe exceeded expectations, and one area that maybe you need as a collective team they need to progress a little quicker?
I'll go first.
Okay, sure.
All right.
Yeah.
In terms of exceeding expectations, I think getting close together. There's some bumps as there is in any journey, but it's how you react to those bumps in the road. And the reaction has been very good. I've been very proud of them for that. In terms of wanting to, or what area we can improve on, I think just the playing as a team concept, being consistent. With the last 2 games have been absolutely outstanding. Results don't necessarily show it, but we put 2 full games together, and I've been really, really happy that that's happened. So they've seen that, they've improved it. Now can we just continue it?
All right, Kate, how about you?
I think that they've been doing well at like being there for each other, picking each other up, and then also, what we can improve on is like communication on the field, and that can always be improved, and we can just like see what we've done well in previous games and bring that to the next game, like what Coach had said. So, that's all what our next game is looking forward to, is what we can improve on and what we can work on in the past games, and then bring it to the new game.
All right, go ahead, Don.
I was just going to say, talk a little bit, Kate, if you can. Last year was Coach's first year as a head coach, and so this year coming in, it's his second year. Have you seen any differences? Maybe that's some things that he learned from last year to this year as he prepares you guys for each game?
Not really. He's stayed pretty consistent. His creativity is, I guess, what changes, is he adds new things and kind of does things differently, but it's a good change.
How about you, Coach? What have you seen from your first year to your second year? Things that you learned last year to carry on to this year?
Just the family thing. It's got to be a continuation of that, and the relationships. When I'm speaking to recruits, that's the one thing I tell them, is the relationship side of things. To continue on past the 4 years at St. Mary's, that the friends you make are going to be there and the teammates are going to be there for a lifetime, and the bonds you build are going to be there as well. So that's what we look.
All right. Well, Neil and Kate, thanks for being on the show today. Good luck here the rest of the season, and great talking to you.
Thank you. You too.
All right, stay tuned. Donny and I will be right back here on the Cardinals Nest to recap the previous week in St. Mary's sports on HBC Channel 25.
We're doing things in bus magazines and the newspapers and things like that, and it's just like we seemed like we needed a different media, and we thought, TV, perfect. Laura, she is awesome. She came out the first time. She was very, very personable, tends to your needs. Anything that you needed, she was right there. I literally, seriously, have been wanting to make more commercials just because it was such a great, fun process. I would recommend HBC to anybody.
Call Laura for details on how to get a free commercial for your business.
How many times in business have you heard this? Your network consultant says your computers are slow because your internet speeds are slow. Then, your service provider says it's not the internet speed, your computers and network are at fault. So which is it? Well, now with HBC's professional services, you don't have to deal with the blame game anymore. We can take care of everything for your business. From designing an entire network to installing a new printer, HBC is here to help keep your business running smooth.
Check us out on the web at hbci.com or give us a call at 888-474-9995.
Winona Homes was offered a deal from another company.
I switched to another company because they made some promises and I was going to get a better rate, so I switched.
But when she tried their deal, she ran into some issues.
The other company that I was with wasn't local. You couldn't even get somebody to come to your office.
At HPC, customer service is our #1 priority for your business. Let's just say Jenny is a lot happier now.
I have never had such fast customer service.
To see how HBC can help your business, call Melanie at 474-5802.
And we're back here on St. Mary's Cardinals Nest on HBC Channel 25. Dean Beckman, Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau. Well, we just heard all about the women's soccer team. And Donny, let's go to the men's soccer team now. They were on quite a streak, a winning streak for a while there, but that abruptly came to an end the other night.
Yeah, unfortunately, they took a 3-1 loss to Carleton on Wednesday night. That shattered their 3-game winning streak. But like you said, they've been playing some really good soccer of late. Carleton ranked 16th in the nation right now, so an extremely good team. St. Mary's got out and scored first right off the bat. They scored in the game's 3rd minute, which was nice because it got them off to a good start. And unfortunately, Carleton came back and tied it before halftime and then scored 2 goals in the second half to get the win. But I talked to Coach Watkins today, and he made the comment that it was a great game. It was a game that really wasn't defined by a 3-1 score, and I think that hopefully it sent a statement to the rest of the conference that this team is for real and is a very talented St. Mary's team, and I think that they need to keep playing hard and they're playing very well. I think the interesting thing about the men's team, as you look at this squad, and we always talk about how young they are, they've scored 15 goals this year, and 13 of them have been scored by people playing in their first year with St. Mary's. So it's definitely a very young squad, and hopefully they can just continue to improve and get better as the season goes on. They're 6-7 right now, heading into a couple of non-conference games on Sunday and Tuesday, and then it's 3 games of conference play to end the season, and they're still mathematically alive for one of those conference spots, and so it's nice for them to be looking at the end of the season and saying, hey, you know what, we've still got a chance to make the playoffs.
Right, and so what you're saying is 15 goals, 13 games, yet they have 6 wins. So
Right.
what that is saying is that the defense and the goaltending really stepping up. Now, Neil would be proud of me. I didn't just credit the goaltenders.
It's very true. You know,
but
it's
a
very
great
true
team
because
defense.
and you're absolutely right. The goalies are doing their part, and you know, I'll credit all 3 of the goalies because
Right.
all 3 of them have gotten a shutout this year, and Christian Van Dam and Joey Petrich and Dante Gillespie, they've all gotten a shutout. But it certainly isn't just because of what they're doing. They're defensively, they're playing very well. And you talk to Coach Watkins, and he's one of those that will say that, you know what, we build from our back line out, and it starts with the goaltending, and they'll continue to be the backbone to their season and to their success. And so I think that you know, we had a little fun here with the video that's
I thought I was
showing right
watching
here.
a horror movie at first, but no, it's the
Yeah, it's a little fun with a GoPro camera that we have, and Christian and Matt Graber were gracious enough to wear the camera and do a little bit of their practice with that on, and it was a lot of fun. But it kind of shows that this is, you know, Coach Cassidy talked a lot about family and about being a group, and watching this video and just watching the guys kind of rib Matt and rib Christian a little bit because they're running around with a camera on their head. You know, it's neat to see these guys kind of gel together and really have a good time with it.
Right. I think it's a great idea. In fact, I want to see you wear one of these in your office. I want to see a day in the life of Donny Nadeau.
I'm not sure you want to see that. It would move way too fast
Right.
for TV. But it was, you know, it's a lot of fun, and we're looking to do more of that in the future. We're going to do volleyball next week. So Jamie Steffley did a great job of editing that video, and I got the easy part. I had to push the start button and the stop button, but it was a lot of fun. And again, thanks to the men's soccer team for allowing me to do that with
Well,
them.
and just one more home game, St. John's coming up later this month on the 20th.
Yep, the 20th is their final home game, so that'll be the last game for the senior class, and it really is. It's been a great senior class, and they've put in a lot of hard work, and I think that when they leave here, they're going to really feel that they had a lot to do with really with the turning around of this program. And you know, the seniors and Coach Watkins have got this group moving in the right direction, and you know, you bring in a lot of freshmen. It takes a lot of upperclassmen to make sure that everybody gels and meshes together, and they should be proud of what they've done.
Donnie, as we switch now to volleyball, we talked on the show last week about the Platteville tournament that the volleyball team was going to and played in this past weekend, and all of the great teams that would be there. Well, Mike Lester had to be very pleased as St. Mary's went 3-1 in that Platteville tournament.
Yeah, he was very happy. It was you know, an outstanding weekend for them. You look at that win over Coe College to open it up. Coe had come into that tournament having won 9 straight matches. They come from the Iowa Conference, which is one of the top volleyball conferences in the nation, and for them to get a 3-1 win there was outstanding. And they bounced back from the Platteville loss then with 2 wins on Saturday. The only unfortunate part of that is the loss to Bethel on Wednesday night when they got back into conference play, losing 3-0. I talked to Coach Lester this morning when they got back, and you know, it was one of those. He said, you know what, we just didn't play well. You know, he said it would really be a tough one to swallow if we played well and lost, but he said, you know, we just did not play well. Still very much in the thick of the conference race. They've got 3 matches left in the conference, or 4 matches left in conference play coming up, and so they've got, you know, a lot to play for. They've got a big tournament this weekend at UW Stout. That'll be their last non-conference matches, and then they close out with 4 conference matches left to end the season. A lot to play for. If you look at the standings, there are a lot of teams bunched up there in the middle there. You look at Bethel and Olaf at 4-3, and then St. Mary, St. Catherine, and Augsburg all at 3-4. So a lot can happen in the last 3 weeks, but it's a big weekend to kind of build some momentum as they head into the last couple weeks of conference play. So certainly a lot to play for with 8 matches to go, and I know Coach Lester will have them ready this weekend for the Stout tournament, and then they kick back into conference play a week from Friday when they host St. Thomas.
Yeah, and St. Thomas, as we saw on that standing sheet there, number 1. And then they play Hamlin right after that. They're toward the bottom of the conference. So I agree, it's going to be a wild finish, and now is the time to go on a streak and try to get in that playoff hunt again. And the other thing, too, with this volleyball team, we've talked about the injuries they have faced. One of the players who didn't play much early in the season, but definitely seeing increased playing time and really stepping up, I think, is Molly Grover. Talk about Molly.
Yeah, Molly's done a really good job. You look at just the Bethel match in general, she had 7 kills to lead the way there. She's one of those outsides that really is kind of stepping into her own right now and doing a great job. And you know, as you look at this team, there are so many individuals that are doing a great job. And you know, it starts with the seniors, and we talk about that all the time. You look at Carissa Hahn and Kathy Rennie and Tara Rasmussen, and you know, people like that are really doing a nice job of leading the way. And then you've got these younger people that maybe don't feel that much that they have the weight of the world on their shoulders, because they've got these upperclassmen who are doing such a nice job of leading the way. And you know, Lexia Simos as the setter is certainly the engine that runs that offense, and you know, she's had a great year, and she's closing in on 2,000 assists for her career. So she's just doing an outstanding job. And you know, I'm sure Coach Lester would say you could pick out anybody in this lineup, and they've had an impact, and they've had a part in the success that they're having this year.
Yeah, you know, and to a degree, we had Coach Cassidy on earlier talking about that team concept. To a degree, Mike Lester has a similar philosophy. If someone goes down, it's next person up. You play within the system, and he really doesn't change the system much depending on who's in there.
Absolutely, and I think one of the things, and Coach Cassidy touched on this a little bit, in that there aren't a lot of people hanging their heads. There are people that maybe had a role last year that they have a different role this year, or there may be a person that played a lot last year but they're not playing as much this year. And when they're called upon, they're ready to go, and they're doing their part to make sure that this team is successful. And that's the sign of a good team, is a team that they're in it for the good of the team, and not worried so much about, am I playing, or how many how many points am I serving up, or how many digs did I get. It's about how many wins did we get as a team. And any team you talk to, any coach that you talk to, that's certainly a key to their success. And I know with Coach Lester, it's very evident, because he's got people in different roles, and they're taking those roles, and they're really doing a great job with them.
Well, Donnie, last week here on the Cardinals Nest, we had Kevin Landrum and Jenna Morozinski on from the golf team, and they were headed up to play in the MIAC Championships. And tell us how they did this past weekend.
I tell you what, they didn't stay warm. It was extremely cold. It's one of the downfalls of fall golf, and when you've got your conference championships in October, the weather was awful. And I think that's the best way you can put it. The conditions were not very good, and it certainly made a difference in their play. I think that a lot of players, or a lot of golfers, really had outstanding weekends in that, you look at Blake Westerberg, we've talked about a lot. He finished his 3 rounds with a 79, which is obviously great to see. You'd like to see Blake get 3 rounds in the 70s and maybe make a run for getting all conference honors or something like that. But all told, on the guys' side, they did very good. They had some golfers who put in some good solid numbers that they hadn't been doing for the season until that point. And I think that's one of the things you've got to look at is it's just as much about the individuals improving. And I know Coach Landrum was talking about that all the time. We want to get better. We want to practice and make sure that we come to the conference championships and we're playing at the top of our game. On the women's side, Jenna had a great final round, and she shot an 89, her season best. And then you look at Jenny Marks, who had 3 rounds in the 90s. She hadn't broken 100 all year, and then come to the conference tournament and she turns in 3 solid rounds like that. Haley Jung did a great job. It was a solid performance, and I think hopefully a springboard to even better things next year. And I think that like Coach Cassidy and like Coach Watkins, they want to set that foundation now and then build from that into the future. And I think that Coach Landrum did that on both the men's and women's side this weekend, and that they got some good solid starts, and now they need to build from that.
Well, and it was good to see Jenna close out with really a career best for her, right? And maybe the Cardinals Nest can take some more credit for that as we provide yet another boost, right?
Absolutely. Jenna had her best round of the year, and you know, she was a great guest last week, and it was fun to have her on, and it was good to see them compete like that. You know, when I talked to Coach Landrum on Monday, and I just said, you know, how did your golfers even golf? You know, you've got like 4 or 5 layers of clothes on and jackets and hats, and you know, it's everybody had to play in it, and of course any coach is going to say that the conditions are the same for everybody, but it certainly makes it difficult to play a game like golf in, you know, jackets and turtlenecks and Under Armour gear and mittens and hats. That's not how golf is supposed to be played, and so it certainly had an effect on not only the Cardinals but really on every team that was competing last weekend.
Well, the cross-country team's not in action this past weekend, but they will be in action this weekend, University of Wisconsin lacrosse, right?
Yeah, a huge meet for them. Coach Barrett's got everything set up that he competes about every other week, just in hopes of making sure that everybody's conditioned and ready to go when it comes to the conference and Central Regional the last 2 weeks of the season. The Jim Drews and Tori Neubauer Invitationals this weekend in West Salem, very big meets. A lot of teams, a lot of conference teams will be there, so it'll really be Coach Barrett's first chance to get a crack at other teams in the MIAC to kind of see where they stack up, because in 2 weeks it's the conference championships, and as we've always talked with cross country and with golf and with swimming, you're gearing up for one weekend, and your whole season really is kind of resting on getting prepared for that race in October, and then for the cross country teams, they've also got the Central Region in November. But this is a huge meet because it's a chance to kind of stack up and see where they rate against some of the other conference teams, and in a meet that's, you know, there's going to be 25, 26 teams at these invitationals, so it's going to be a big meet, and that's you kind of get that feel of what it's going to take to be in a big meet.
Well, and in that MIAC championship and then the other one in November, certainly weather can play a factor.
Absolutely,
there too.
And you look at what's the forecast for Saturday. They're talking a lot of rain, and so you know, the courses that they're running, it's certainly going to have an effect on how they compete. But you know, as I was saying, you've all got to run in it, so it's going to be. It certainly will make how you approach the race differently because of what the conditions are.
And Donnie, we have about a minute left here. Jen Miller, the women's softball coach, as we speak, preparing the Haunted Forest, the Walk of Horror at St. Mary's. It's a big fundraiser for the softball team, but it's a community event where you can come out, walk in the woods at St. Mary's and get a little scared.
Yeah,
as well.
it's great. And you know, they do such a good job with it. They take so much pride in the Walk of Horror. You can talk to any softball player over the past 10, 15 years, and they've all had a part in it. And the excitement that they get in creating these, you know, how they're going to appear, their appearance, and how the walk is going to be shaped up, and it's a lot of fun. And obviously, we'll talk more about it as it gets a little bit closer. But a great fundraiser for them, and really they do a fantastic job with it.
Yeah, we'll get dates, times, all of that on next week's show here on the Cardinals Nest. That's going to do it for this week. Glad you could tune in. Thanks for watching HBC in the Cardinals Nest here on Channel 25.